Okay, so today I want to compare the Samsung Galaxy A5 2016 with the A5 2017, and to make things a little bit easier throughout the video, I will just call this the 16 and this the 17. Now, in my opinion, this comparison now makes even more so sense than ever, since the 16 is running Marshmallow for quite a while, which did improve quite a lot of things that I had to nag about in the past. And if you have maybe already seen my comparison of the 17 with the S7 and have seen how close it got to that, you're now maybe wondering, if I want to save even more so money, how close do I get with the 16 now to the 17 or maybe the S7, which I already actually compared it with, but back then with Lollipop. And in case you maybe want to revisit the review of the A5 with Marshmallow, let me know that in the comments. But otherwise, I would say let's start off with the face-off. Size comparison first. As you can see, the 17 looks a little bit taller, a little bit wider, but it feels a little bit thinner and more compact in the hand due to the curved sides. But I know that a lot of people actually like the more squarey, boxy design of the 16, and I definitely get why, because it has a nice premium heft and it definitely feels great in the hand as well. Now let's get around to see some other differences. Power button quite similar, but the speaker here is on the top right, where it's on the bottom right on the A5 16. Microphones quite similar, SD card and SIM card tray are a little bit different, but that doesn't really make a difference. And you can see volume rocker very similar. USB Type-C on the 17, micro USB on the 16, and the headphone jacks on the opposite side. That's pretty much already it. We don't have a notification LED on either one, but on the 17 at least you get always on display, which I didn't find yet, if maybe available on the 16, but I didn't see it, so I doubt it's there. So this is a little bit of a bummer because you don't have any sort of notification help here. Otherwise, in terms of the fingerprint reader, on the 17 you can just hold and wait for a little bit. It works out quite nice and this is okay, but on the 16 you still have to press and wait. So this is a little bit of a longer procedure therefore, but still get the job done. Both. The 16 is a little bit slower here though, after all. Now I want to get into the sound now already because design has been covered. I like it on both, definitely great. Now, what about the speaker? Okay, please don't mind the flickering, this is just because of the camera, and I will lay both flat on the back so both can reflect, since the differences are a little bit different. But the 16 definitely has the upper hand since it can reflect towards this if you hold it in landscape or in portrait. This definitely has an advantage, but just to keep things fair here a little bit, I will put them both on the desk. Okay, my opinion about the speaker. First of all, both are definitely fine, both are definitely good. The A5 2017 feels a little bit louder, a little bit more open, a little bit clearer, where the 16 has a little bit more of a richer sound, but therefore doesn't quite get that loud. But both do an absolutely fine job. Overall, I think I would prefer the sound signature of the 17, but due to the better position, after all, still the 16. In terms of the headphone jack, both quite similar, but the 17 has the slight advantage being a little bit louder and a little bit of better quality, but it's not by much, and that's why I will already say let's get into the display. I will just have to adjust my setup so I can use both kind of similar enough at the same time. So let's do this. Let's unlock it, go into the gallery, and as you can already see, there is not a whole lot of a difference. The one here is set a little bit lower in terms of brightness with 30%, where I have 33% here to get it kind of on a similar playgrounds. But in terms of maximum brightness, they're actually very, very similar, and I didn't really notice the difference. In terms of the calibration, it's just a little bit different. As you can see here, there's not a whole lot of a difference. And this one is a little bit older, so maybe they degraded already a little bit. But as you can see, saturation and so on, very similar. Of course, viewing angles, very similar. White point is quite nice on both. And this is definitely nice. I don't really see a big difference. The 17 sometimes feels a little bit brighter, where the one still tends to have colors a little bit darker. But as you can see here, such minor differences, we don't really need to get too much into that. So let's already talk about performance. Close all apps and see how quickly they launch. I will try to make my best to get it as similar as possible. As you can see, actually not that big of a difference. Launch times usually don't make such a huge difference, especially in normal use. I don't think all of this really matters all that much. As you can see, it's tiny fraction sometimes here, tiny fraction sometimes there, where the one is faster than the other one. Does it matter in real life? I tend to disagree. I don't think it makes the biggest difference. What is important is that both perform quite nice. But in terms of multitasking, the 17 definitely has, due to 1 GB RAM more, the upper hand. This is just something that I can't deny. And let's go into the browser to check that and to see how well the scrolling works. Let's start off with the 16 once it has loaded. As you can see here, browsing absolutely nice and smooth. Since both are AMOLED, it looks also very nice and smooth. So it's something that I definitely like. A little bit jitteriness is visible sometimes on both, but nothing you should really complain about. And if we check this, I will try to get my best to make it similar. And just to bring it down to a point, the 17 is a little bit smoother. We see some more harder lag on the 16. And before Marshmallow, I definitely complained a lot about the hard lag that actually led me to not recommend it that much. But it has gotten so much better now with Marshmallow that it is at a point where in normal use, just for the average user, you won't really notice that much of a difference. It still lags a little bit or stutters a little bit more, but the 17 still does this as well, and both are so good that in my opinion the difference is so much closer now that if you don't need the very best performer, this one will actually do just fine without any issues at all. Now let's cover the battery. Full charge takes about 1.5 hours on the A517. On the 16 I would have to check, but I will put it on because I forgot it. But in terms of battery life, I'm not 100% sure if it has even gotten better on the A516, but what I got yesterday is, I would say, roughly at least half an hour more, if not even an hour more, in mixed use better than the 17. I don't think the 16 was that good. It was already very good the first time I reviewed, but now on Marshmallow it could have been even better. So expect about, I would say, close to 6 hours on mobile data, since better reception on the 16, where I got maybe like 5, maybe 5.5 on the 17. Of course, 1 hour plus on mixed use and even 1 hour more plus on Wi-Fi. But the reception was noticeably better on the 16. I don't want to go into the software at all because both are running Marshmallow now. It's pretty much the same experience. Maybe one feature like always on is now available on the 17 that I didn't see on the 16, but that is pretty much it. The rest, we have dual window now on both from Samsung still, not the Nougat version since they don't run Nougat yet, but it's so minor. We don't really have to talk about that. And that's why I would like to go into the camera, and for some reason it used the wrong display. Okay, let's get into that and see what we get here. The first picture will always be the 17 and the second one will be the 16, just so you know that. So we will cover that. As you can see here, 17, 16, 17, 16. Not a whole lot of a difference. The 16 feels a little bit sharper, but it's not by much. Here once again, 17, and here the 16, 17, 16. So very similar in terms of details, clarity, sharpness, and even the colors, very, very similar. As you can see once again, here the 17 makes a little bit of a better job, a little bit more blurry, but of course this is not always 100% reproducible, but once here again, super, super close. So they definitely adjusted both cameras very, very similar. As you can see, nuances, really nuances. Sometimes one is a little bit sharper than the other one, but it's really minimal here once again. Not a whole lot of a difference. In general, to me, maybe due to iOS, which is lacking on the 17, the 16 actually sometimes, as you can see now, gets more often a nicer shot, and it's more consistent, and it actually produces the sharper shots. Not always, but in most cases it actually seems like this. This once again, 17 and the 16 looks even nicer. Colors look a little bit more natural, and even more so details, which is definitely nice to see. Now, when it comes to the selfies, things are a little bit different because, as you can see here, not a whole lot of a difference. Both do actually a nice job. Here, once again, the 17 and the 16 falls a little bit short, usually tends to get the white balance a little bit wrong. Isn't always that great. As you can see, 17, in my opinion, does an absolutely top job. Not that great. So the selfie cam is definitely noticeably better on the S7. Indoors, especially here, super nice and sharp. Still okay, but far off the 16 here once again. And once again. So you can definitely see the difference. Now, low light is where the 16 actually wins quite noticeably again, I guess due to OIS, because as you can see, the 17 looks okay. But this one looks noticeably better because you don't need that much of a steady hand. Here, not that big of a difference, but there is a difference after all. Especially if you do a lot of low light photography. the 16 will actually be the better job. And this kind of makes me say, unless the selfie cam is not important for you, the 17 actually is a little bit inferior, I guess mostly due to the OIS. And now I kind of get in a direct comparison why so many people have actually complained about the lack of OIS on the 17. So if I would have to choose which one is the better camera, I would actually give it to the 16. Now let's summarize things up to get to where we are. Design. In terms of quality, both are that great that I won't really choose a winner. I personally like the more compact, a little bit more curved design, but I know a lot of people like that, so that's kind of a draw. In terms of display, also so close. I really had to check exactly minimal advantage to the 17 because of the slightly brighter image, but so minimal, and this could be different from each unit anyways. Calibration isn't always spot on every device, so also a draw here. In terms of sound, I will actually give it to the 16. Why? Because it's just better placed. Even though the speaker might be better on the 17, I just think the position is not all that great. In terms of performance, of course, here the 17 wins. Newer SoC, slightly better optimized, a little bit less lag, and quite close actually, and even more consistent than the S7. It really knows to perform quite good in this price range, but considering that this is like $150 less, you get so close actually with the slightly harder lag that was still available on Lollipop, which is not really that much visible on Marshmallow. This actually performs really good for a $250 device. Battery life, very close, both more than good enough. Ever so slight advantage due to a little bit better reception, therefore a little bit maybe less standby drain for the 16. Expect like half an hour, maybe in best conditions even an hour more of screen on time on the 16. So really good job here. Software, I will call it a draw. Just because of always on display, I won't call it that. But one thing why you maybe should consider this one after all is because it's a newer device, so it should get Nougat a little bit earlier than this one, which already took quite a while to get Marshmallow. So, but if that's worth $150, since the features, even if you would run Nougat, wouldn't really make that much of a difference. And I've noticed this on the S7. Camera, here's the thing. Selfies, okay, yes, I give the win to the 17 overall, but especially if you have a lot of low light shots and outdoor shots and so on, the 16 actually makes the better job. For videos, actually so similar that it doesn't make a huge difference. And the OIS, once again, here is on the upper hand. So in terms of price, I can't say exactly how big the difference is where you are. I can only justify or judge it from what is here. And this one is about €250, where the A7 is still around 400. Now, if you want to save $150 and get actually quite close, this is right now a really great offering, because 150 more maybe would be worth it, I don't know, but then you could maybe already, depending on where you are, get the S7. So just in terms of value, this is definitely better than the A5 2017 and the S7, because you aren't all that far off, but you get a lot of high-end qualities. Of course, the camera is nowhere near the S7 after all, which produced quite warm shots though. But for $250, now with Marshmallow, without the gripes that I had before it, with the hard lag in the past, this is a better offer than ever before. And I will put it maybe once again up against my current kind of big recommendation in the $250 segment, which is the P9 Lite from Huawei. So this now is better than ever and so close to this one that I would have had a hard time to justify 150 extra. Of course, prices may vary. The bigger it is, the better it gets to the A5. The closer it gets, the more you could maybe consider the new one. But that would have been it. Otherwise, let me know what you think in the comments, and like, subscription maybe, and this discussion here is wanted. But please keep it civil, because I compared Samsung with Samsung here in the end, and I definitely did have a bias against the brand. Maybe, yeah, okay, you get it. Until next time, bye.